I am not teaching, I am publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test part 107, the British Empire, which is on the page 41 while doing leg injury prevention training. And if you participate in the leg injury prevention training, it is at your own risk. So the British Empire. During the Victorian period, and we have it, that was from 1837 until 1901, the time when Queen Victoria reigned on the British throne. She was 18 when she became queen, the times known as the Victorian Age, and it was a time in which Britain increased in power and influence abroad, and the middle class became increasingly significant. And there were a number of reformers who wanted and had improved the lives of especially the poor. During the Victorian period, the British Empire grew to cover all of India, Australia, and large parts of Africa. So the British Empire was not just Britain. Here, it's quite small for that. Britain, but also now during the Victorian period, all of India. So here is India, here's China, and there's India. Australia is there, and large parts of Africa. Here's Africa. There's Europe, there's Britain, there's Europe, there's Africa, and large parts of Africa. It became the largest empire the world has ever seen, with an estimated population of more than 400 million people. So we are comparing it with the Roman Empire, for example. So it became the largest empire the world has ever seen. So the British Empire was the largest by size the world has ever had, and it had a population of around 400 million people. So during the Victorian Empire, during the Victorian period, the British Empire grew to the largest empire which the world ever had. It had 400 million people as a population, and it were, beside of Britain and other parts of the world, large parts of Africa, India, and Australia. Now let's do a bit leg injury prevention training. Bearing the legs standing wide apart, we're breathing in and going down. And we're breathing out again. And then breathing in. And out. Again in. And out. And the last round, breathe in. And out. Cross the legs. And out. End of the first exercise, we're having a good standing leg. The other leg is with the flex foot in the air, and we're swinging it to the side. So here, in front, and to the side. And the toes of the foot which is swinging are pointing more or less the whole time in front. And a few more to the side, in front. Try to stand stable. To stay stable. Stand stable. And we're switching up with the other leg. We are having the leg in the air and we're swinging it to the side and in front, and the foot is flexed and the toes are pointing more or less in front all the time. And a few more. And the second exercise, we're having again a good standing leg. The other leg's in the air, flexed foot. And we're bringing the leg in the air in front and back, front, back. A few more. And now we're switching with the other leg, front, back, front, back. A few more. And that was that exercise. So the British Empire grew during the Victorian period to the largest empire in the world, with a population of estimated to 400 million people, and it covered then all India, Australia, and large parts of Africa. Many people were encouraged to leave the UK to settle overseas. Between 1853 and 1913, as many as 13 million British citizens left the country. I think we have to read on to understand what we mean. People continued to come to Britain from other parts of the world. No, what is something else? So, many people were encouraged to leave the UK to settle overseas. They mean to settle in the British colonies, I guess. They were not encouraged to leave the UK in a sense of, like before, they were fleeing from religious persecution or something. Many people were encouraged to leave the UK to settle overseas. Between 1853 and 1913, as many as 13 million British citizens left the country. So 13 million people in these 60 years, or most of the time during the Victorian Empire, during the Victorian period, left the United Kingdom. I assume they are then settling in British overseas colonies. People continued to come to Britain from other parts of the world. We had already that first during the medieval times that skilled workers were coming, craft workers. These were the camel builders from Holland, the engineers from Germany, the glass manufacturers from Italy, and the weavers from France. And then we had a growing population. Between 1680 and 1720, many refugees called Huguenots came from France, and first Jews in 1656 settled in 1656 settled again in London. Now we have, for example, between 1870, that is in the time 1870. No, that was 1770. 1680, 1720. So this is not the same time. This is 100 years later, almost 200. More, yes, 200. For example, between 1870 and 1914, around 100,000 Russian and Polish Jews came to Britain to escape persecution. So between 1870 and 1914, around 120,000 Jews who were living in Russia and Poland came to Britain because of persecutions in Russia and Poland. Many settled in London's East End and in Manchester and Leeds. So many of the 100,000 Russian and Polish Jews who were fleeing from persecution settled in London East End. So we now know that London has different boroughs or different sections, and one of them is East End. And they also settled in Manchester and in Leeds. So we're now in other towns. We're now in Portsmouth. What's the port somewhere? Portsmouth. There's the HMS Victoria, the ship which we don't know the first name, which Admiral Nelson had during the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805 against the Napoleonic fleet and the Spanish fleet. We're knowing of that, Portsmouth, and we're knowing of Grimsby and Scunthorpe, and we're knowing of London. And now we're knowing of Manchester and Leeds. People from the Empire, including India and Africa, also came to Britain to live, work and study. People from the Empire. Yes, they are meaning now. But again, if someone does now geography or political geography, not so exactly, they will not understand that. People from the Empire, and that is now meant to Russia and Poland, were not part of the British Empire. So the 120,000 Jews coming from Poland and Russia were not coming from the Empire. And many other people were coming to Britain who lived in the Empire. People from the Empire, including India and Africa, the parts of Africa who were part of the British Empire, also came to Britain to live, work and study. So many people from India and also from Africa came to Britain because they wanted to live in Britain, or to work in Britain, or to study in Britain. And now we're through with everything written here to the British Empire. And we're going to do another imagery prevention training, and then we will repeat only what we already had. But the next exercise, we're having a good standing leg, and we're bringing one leg into the ear, right angle of the leg, flexed for the ear line tips. And now we're breathing in, and out, we're bringing the leg to the outside. And breathe in. and out of the leg, back into the middle, control down. And again, the leg up, right angle of the leg, flex foot, even my hips toward the back. So breathing in, and out the leg to the outside, and breathe in, and out back into the middle, and control down. And let's do it a third and final time. So the leg up, right angle of the leg, flex foot, even my hips, breathe in, top of the back, and out, bring the leg to the outside. Breathing in, and out the leg, back into the middle, and control down. And now we are leg. The leg up, right angle of the leg, flex foot, even line hips, solid of the back, and breathing in. And out the leg comes to the outside. And breathe in. And out the leg back into the middle. And control down. And the other side. The leg up, right angle of the leg, flex foot, even line hips, solid of the leg, and breathing in. And out the leg comes to the outside. We're breathing in, and out, leg back in, and control. And the third and final time. The leg comes up, right angle with the leg, flex foot, even line hips on the back, we're breathing in, and out, the leg on the outside. We're breathing in, and out, and control. And now let's do one more exercise like this. One leg comes up, right angle with the leg, flex foot, even line hips out of the back. And now the leg presses up into the hand, to the side, up into the hand, to the side. The knee always presses to the side, and up, to the side, and up. Even the lined hips, tall up to the back. And a few more. Now we change it to the other side. The leg up, right angle of the leg, flex foot, even line hips, tall of the back. And the knee presses up and to the side. The knee presses up to the side. Even line hips, tall of the back, a few more. And that was that exercise. And now we're just doing the closing exercise. Legs wide apart, and we're breathing in. In and out. The last round, breathe in. Out. Breathe in and close the legs. And out. And we're done with the leg injury prevention training. So the British Empire during the Victorian Empire, during the Victorian period, 1837 to 1901, the British Empire grew to the largest size an empire ever had on the world. 400 million people lived there. People were coming to the UK. For example, 100,000 persecuted Jews from Poland and Russia, but also many people from India and Africa to work, study and live in the UK. And 13 million people in these 50 years, 1853, 1913, left the UK, and they probably settled in the British overseas colonies. That is not written here, but yes, that is right. Then let's go to the flags once more. So this is the Union Jack. This is the official British flag of the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland, of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So the James George flag, St. George's, England, and St. Andrew, Scotland, and St. Patrick, Ireland, and the Welsh flag has the dragon. It's a Welsh flag. And the English flag, the George flag, that is a diagonal cross. And we both over Scotland and Ireland have both this diagonal. This is not this straight cross. And Scotland has blue and Ireland has diagonal. England and Ireland have both red stripes and a white background. So anyway, we can remember it. Patrick, diagonal, letters CK, TR. England has a straight, and Ireland, the Ireland. So this is the end. I thank you very much. Until the next time, when we have trade and industry. We had something to it already, but we will have more to trade and industry. So thank you very much, and until next time.